Today's topic is electoral politics and changing party system in independent India. Even before India achieved her independence from colonial rule on 15th August 1947, a Constituent Assembly was formed which was entrusted with the responsibility of framing a constitution for independent India. Babu Rajendra Prasad was the chairman of the Constituent Assembly, and chairman of the drafting committee was Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who was the chief architect of the Indian Constitution. The Constitution of India was adopted on 26 November 1949 and it came into force on 26 January 1950. The preamble of the Indian Constitution declared India a sovereign democratic republic, although later on two terms, secular and socialist, were added. The basis of a democratic republic was a free election on the basis of a universal adult suffrage. Universal adult suffrage meant any Indian who was more than 21 of age was to vote and elect their representative at the center or in the state legislative assemblies. Acceptance of adult suffrage made elections imperative at national and state levels. The Constitution of India liked to call Indian Union a union of states and not a federation of states, and wanted to lead India towards the path of a parliamentary democracy. The basis of the parliamentary democracy was the universal adult suffrage. India's electoral system developed according to the directives of the Constitution. The Constitution created an election commission, and Sukumar Sen, the famous Bengali ICS, was the first chief election commissioner. The election commissioner was to be independent of the executive or the parliament or party in power. Organization of elections appeared to be a very difficult task. There was a house-to-house survey to prepare a valid voters list. Over 70% voters being illiterate, the candidates were to be identified by symbols assigned to political parties and also to independent candidates. Over 2,24,000 polling booths were constructed. There were about 1,000 voters in each booth. Booths were equipped with 2.5 million steel ballot boxes. Nearly 62 crores ballot papers were printed. The first general election of independent India started on 25th October 1951 and it continued up to 21st February 1952, and it went for about 4 months. Candidates of over 4 national and 62 regional or local parties as well as a large number of independent candidates contested in the Lok Sabha, that is the lower house of the parliament, and the state legislative assembly elections also they participated. There were 489 seats for the Lok Sabha and 3,200 seats for the state assemblies had been contested. 98 seats in the Lok Sabha were reserved for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, and 669 seats were reserved for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in the state legislative assemblies. About 17,500 candidates contested for the seats in the Lok Sabha and the state legislatures. The road towards forming a parliamentary democracy gave birth to a multi-party electoral system in Indian politics. Main contestants in the fray were Congress, Communist Party, the Socialists and the Jan Sangh. There were other small parties as well. The result of the first Lok Sabha elections held in 1951-52. Congress won 364 seats, Communist Party and allies 23 seats, Socialist 12 seats, Kishan Mazdoor Praja Party 9 seats, and Jan Sangh 3 seats. Experiments were making turning India into a parliamentary democracy that led to a multi-party democratic exercise in politics, which saw the emergence of a changing party system in India. During the freedom movement against the British rule, many political parties, despite difference in ideology, worked under the banner of the Indian National Congress. But after independence, these political parties emerged as political opponents to the Congress ideology and politics. After independence, Congress naturally emerged as the ruling party. India remained under an uninterrupted Congress rule up to 1977, when the Janata Dal formed government at the centre. In 1967, Congress lost power in some states, including West Bengal, Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. In the words of a famous historian, Eric Hobsbawm, India, among the third world countries, made a very impressive example of continuing an unbroken civil governance, and it was really possible for Congress because Congress could accommodate many shades of opinion. India is virtually the only post-colonial nation to sustain a system of parliamentary government for a considerable length of time after independence. Congress under the leadership of Jawaharlal Nehru played a significant role to strengthen the foundations of a parliamentary democracy based on multi-party system. During the early years after independence, Congress remained a dominant party and retained power at the centre and in almost all the states. Simultaneously, a multi-party system based on strong parliamentary institution also developed. In spite of Congress' dominance over political power after 1947, it did not become a monolithic party. Its mode of functioning and decision making remained to some extent democratic and open. Despite certain exceptions, Congress leadership tried to maintain inner party democracy as well. Furthermore, Congress could accommodate different shades of opinion. In fact, Congress placated the socially powerful and rich section of the Indian population. At the same time, it could also address the grievances of the poor and the deprived. Congress retained the same, before independence Congress had the same character, and after independence Congress could retain the same character. Its mission was to accommodate and adjust divergent class, sectional and regional interests. During the Nehru era, Congress was a left of the centre party. It broadly stood for nationalism, economic development, social justice and secularism. Particularly, as far as secularism was concerned, Congress did never compromise with the principle of secularism. In the first three elections, Congress was able to keep its overwhelming dominance over the parliament. The second general election of the Lok Sabha took place in 1957. Out of 494 seats, Congress secured 371 seats. And in the third general election of the Lok Sabha, which occurred in February 1962, out of 494 seats, Congress won 361 seats. It amply proves that Congress was much ahead of the opposition in securing votes. There were more or less three important opposition parties after independence: the Socialist Party, the Communist Party of India and the Jan Sangh. At first, we are going to discuss the activities of the Socialist Party. After independence, Socialist Party emerged with great promise and its leader Jayaprakash Narayan stood next only to Nehru in mass popularity. Since 1934, the party remained a part of the Indian National Congress and worked under the name of Congress Socialist Party. But in early 1948, the Socialists left Congress to form a new party, and its mission was to establish a democratic socialist society. There were some eminent leaders of the Socialist Party, namely Jayaprakash Narayan, Acharya Narendra Dev, Ashok Mehta and Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia. In June 1951, Congress dissidents led by J.B. Kripalini formed a new party called Kishan Mazdoor Praja Party. The Socialist Party and the Kishan Mazdoor Praja Party merged in September 1952 and the party was renamed as Praja Socialist Party, and its leader Ashok Mehta adopted a political line of cooperating with the Congress. At that time, there was a factional feud within the Socialist Party. There were different views among the socialist leaders. Jayaprakash Narayan and Ashok Mehta wanted to cooperate with Congress, but Ram Manohar Lohia was vehemently opposed to the Congress ideas and Congress ideology, and his opposition to the Congress was stringent. He later formed the Sangyukta Socialist Party. In the mid-50s, the Socialist Party became gradually weak. Jayaprakash Narayan left active politics and he concentrated himself to work on partyless democracy and Bhudan movement. Ashok Mehta left Socialist Party in 1964 and joined Congress with 1/3 of the PSP members, and Acharya Narendra Dev died in 1956. The weakness of leadership gradually led to the decline of popularity of the Socialist Party. Next, the Communist Party of India, CPI. Since 1936, the Communist Party of India worked under the Congress leadership, but there arose a problem in 1942. Remaining true to the line of People's War during the Second World War, the Communist Party of India decided to cooperate with the British government, and during the Quit India movement, it did not take place in the movement and join hands with the Congress. It left Congress in 1945, but after 1945, there were some important anti-imperialist movements in India, and in all those movements the Communist Party took a very active role, and the communist popularity to some extent increased. At the time of independence, Communist Party of India had several able leaders and a large number of devoted and disciplined cadres. Its long-time General Secretary was P.C. Joshi. When India became independent, P.C. Joshi took a moderate stand, and P.C. Joshi told clearly that the Communist Party of India would like to cooperate with the Nehru government in several issues. But suddenly, the stand of the Communist Party changed. In 1948, P.C. Joshi was replaced by B.T. Randive as the General Secretary of the party. B.T. Randive and the CPI took a radical stand. They gave call for an armed insurrection and said that the Indian Constitution was a charter of slavery. Nehru and the Indian bourgeoisie compromised with the British imperialism and they betrayed the Indian people. They called Jawaharlal Nehru a stooge of imperialism. The party gave call for a violent insurgency against the Nehru regime and told that Nehru government should be dislodged by the armed uprising, but the government brutally suppressed the communist activities. The Communist Party also gave call for peasant movement in the Malabar region, in parts of West Bengal and in Odisha and Telangana. Particularly, the Telangana movement turned violent and government again took stern measures to suppress the Telangana peasant movements. Radical stand taken by B.T. Randhave led to a decline of communist popularity. The CPI membership came down from 90,000 to about 18,000 only in 1951. At the end of 1951, there was again a change in the leadership. Mr. Ajoy Ghosh became the new party general secretary and he took a relatively moderate stand. The Communist Party of India, under the leadership of Ajoy Ghosh, decided to take part in Indian elections and they participated in the elections in 1951-52. The CPI emerged as the second party next to Congress in the elections of 1951-52, though the gap was huge. The Bharatiya Jan Sangh was basically a right-wing Hindu communal party. The communal politics of Bharatiya Jan Sangh may be understood from the RSS politics, and the RSS was founded in 1925. Ram was the key figure of RSS and RSS was openly and overtly an anti-Muslim party. The Bharatiya Jan Sangh came into existence in October 1951 with Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee as its president. Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee maintained some semblance of an independent party, but the influence of RSS could not be denied because important office bearers and lakhs of cadres were supplied from the ranks of the RSS to Bharatiya Jan Sangh. Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee died in 1953 and he was replaced by Moulinath Sharma as the president of Bharatiya Jan Sangh. But within few months, Moulinath Sharma resigned from the party on the ground that the party was exclusively and overwhelmingly being dominated by the RSS. In fact, from then on, and even Bharatiya Jan Sangh's later incarnation, Bharatiya Janata Party, they could not deny the influence of the RSS, and RSS influence over the Bharatiya Jan Sangh is quite visible. Opposing the Congress policy of cooperative farming system, certain right-wing organizations like Forum for Free Enterprise and All India Agriculturist Federation thought in terms of having a political party based on the doctrine of free enterprise and independent peasantry. The Swatantra Party, in fact, was the first authentic all India secular conservative party which came into existence in August 1959. The party was led by distinguished personalities like C. Rajagopalachari, Minu Masani, K. M. Munshi and G. Ranga. In the 1962 elections, the Swatantra Party secured 18 Lok Sabha seats. The main social base of the party were the big industrialists, princes, landlords, rich and middle peasants and all these classes formed the social base of the Swatantra Party. In the foreign policy, the party was opposed to non-alignment and pro-Soviet stand of the Nehru era. In fact, the Swatantra Party lost its relevance in the late 1960s because of the fact that Congress split in 1969 and there was an emergence of a new party called Congress O. Congress O could rally behind the secular conservative forces, and for that reason the Swatantra Party lost its relevance. Moreover, the conservatism of Swatantra Party was not liked by the Indian people. So Swatantra Party did not exist in the 1970s. In fact, there were existence of so many political parties, and Congress had to face opposition from the conservative right-wing parties, from the centrist parties and the left-wing communist party. And the existence of so many political parties made the Indian democracy a vibrant one. No doubt that Congress dominated, and the dominance was absolute and overwhelming. In all the elections, Congress fared very well, but there were certain aberrations in the Congress policy as well as the ruling class. The Congress banned the Communist Party of India in 1948. The Congress enacted the Preventive Detention Act, which was inimical to civil rights and civil liberties of the Indian people in 1950. Congress enacted the Armed Forces Special Power Act to suppress the revolt of the Nagas in 1958, and above all, it was Congress which sacked the democratically elected Marxist government in Kerala under Namboodiripad in 1959. So there were aberrations as well. In spite of such little aberrations, Congress could maintain peace and harmony, particularly as far as secular principles and national development were concerned. Congress played a pivotal role in Indian multi-party system and in Indian democracy.